is where does the value accrue? I think it accrues to the underlying chain more than it accrues to the things, because the capital cycle is so fast, the velocity is so fast that it's very hard to have a breakthrough product that doesn't get disrupted by another product. So it's hard to, your time horizon, right? You're much shorter term time horizon than me. So I can't hold this for a year and think I'm going to find a winner apart from GOAT for the reasons that we talked about, because it's actually not that.
Yeah.
And
okay.
so
I hear you, by the way. And on the value accrual side, I think this is where we do agree. I think that these coins look closer to meme coins than they do to like DeFi yield farms, which is fine.
That's okay.
But I'll give you another example, right? There's this coin called Pippin. All right, forget about the coin. I don't even hold it. I like it, whatever. The main developer for it, his name is Yohei. Yohei created Baby AGI, which is one of the first like godfather implementations of AI agent, the concept of an AI agent. This is about 1.5, 2 years ago. And he's currently developing a framework to allow people to create more of these agents. Why are all these people creating agents? It's because there is a product market fit moment happening here in crypto where all these open source developers are finding real traction and like real kind of market forces towards finding the most interesting use cases for these language models.
Different to the Telegram bots.
I heard you use that example. I actually don't understand it, to be honest. Like, what do you mean by that they're the same as the Telegram bots? What do you mean?
A Telegram bot is it is a macro that will go and execute strategies for you to make money, right? Theoretically, and people sell those. Same as trading view models, these pinecone models that you can build that has trading systems.
Yeah.
Right? They're so far behind where the hedge fund industry is, but you can make money out of them, and that's okay, but most people don't. Most of the GitHub repositories for all of these things are all these kind of macro models, and that's okay. There's value to that. If it can swap my fucking Solana and do something else with it, that stops me having to do it, which is painful, and I'm a boomer, so I'm not going to do it. But that's not real AI accrual. We're not paying an agent to go and do a specific task for us. We're paying somebody, we're buying somebody's token to be able to use something. I don't think it's there yet. I think it's coming. I don't disagree.
Yeah. So I think the rabbit hole then is, this is a more philosophical question, is, are we as investors going to wait until it's there? Or are we going to start looking for the diamonds in the rough? And to your point on the agents, by the way, you asked about Telegram bots, and you mentioned earlier, like, is frontier research happening right now in AI crypto? And when I heard you say it on the stream, that's when I texted Thread, like, please let me get on, because I think the answer is actually yes. There's a few examples I'll give. Again, interesting ideas. There's one called YNE, yes, no error. It's a Y Combinator guy. He was running a startup. Now he's running this. And what it does is it just looks through research papers. They're building a fine-tuned agent that looks through all these research papers and tries to find gaps to solve issues in health. And it's a pretty like interesting thing. It just got to like 90 mil or whatever it is. That's interesting. And you have Pythia. They're trying to put AI into a rat's brain. He was on Thread stream the other day, and this guy's been working on it for 4 years. He's like a famous researcher. He's been working on it for 4 years, and they have a coin, and they're fully supporting and backing the coin. They're doing videos of the rat as they train it to get smarter and smarter, and they're publishing like legitimate research. And so for me, when you said that, I'm like, actually, the most interesting niche thing that's happening in the agent AI crypto space is you're starting to get a lot of community flywheel and like attention around these interesting research things that it would never catch traction like with normal people, if it wasn't in this communal way that they're launching, fair launch, pump fund, all of this.
Yeah. And listen, crypto is the ultimate form of capital formation. I get it.
Yes.
I totally
and
believe
we're tokenizing open source repos, and we're incentivizing open source development.
It's
the coolest thing ever.
It's like DeSci, really interesting. All of this is interesting. I don't disagree with any of it. I just think it's mainly still uninvestable on my time horizon. On your time horizon,
that's valid.
You're trading
that is valid.
You're trading attention. And there's nothing wrong with that. Attention is the primary currency of the internet. You're trading attention on your time horizon. I'm not. I'm trading adoption, network adoption model. So I'm trading Metcalfe's law. You're trading attention models. They both are the same thing over time, but mine is attention over time. Yours is attention over shorter time. That's great. So for me and my investing style, can I choose out of the 50 new AI tokens every day that are coming? No. Much like I can't do it with memes. And I don't. So I pick one that I think might be interesting or whatever. I've got smoking chicken fish because I like it. Whatever it may be. But in the end, I'm not in the trenches like you are. What I'm fucking good at is the long-term trend. I'm good at that. And I will, when I see that trend, that's where I make my money. I don't do it this way because I think it's too difficult for most people.
By the way, I respect you a lot for saying that. And I think if there's progress that we can make from this conversation, because I actually think you're smart. I followed you for a while, to be honest. I think you're really sharp. I think my take that I disagree with Thread on, and you guys were talking about GOAT earlier, I've been the biggest proponent. I do not think that there are solidified winners in the space yet. Like, there just isn't. We're really like 3.5, 4 months into this like AI agent crypto thing or whatever. And the winners today have grown really fast. But to your point, I understand what you're saying. You want to get on the right before the curve really takes off and there's a solidified winner. So it's a clean one shot. We pick the winner. And there are certain people that feel like that's already happened with AI16Z or GOAT or whatever it is. Personally, I don't think we're there yet. But I do think, throughout this year, we're going to see, winners in a big way. Because
I don't think my favorite trade of all time is the second cycle.
Interesting.
Right. So like for me, I've deployed a lot of capital into Xcopy and Beeple and some NFTs because they got battle tested. These things look like they're going to accrue stupid fucking value. Solana 2022 was a big one for me. ETH 2020 was a big one for me for the same thing. It's that second cycle, battle tested. Is it real or not? Now, it's too early to do this with AI stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think GOAT has a chance because it's actually not an AI thing. It is a meme based on something extraordinary that happened. Here's one for you that I want to ask the question of, why are we not talking about Tau and Render? Now, Barry Silbert, who knows, an old mate, he's gone all in on this stuff.
Yeah.
Barry got the Bitcoin call right back in 2010, whatever it was. Are we overthinking it, mid-curving it, when it's kind of there? Or maybe it's not. I don't know. I can't make
great question.
It sounds complicated.
Great question. And I think this is where the divide of AI last cycle to this cycle is. And I've heard the same thing said about DeSci as well. Like, DeSci this cycle looks like what AI was last cycle. But in reality, there's a divide, which is, okay, there's AI as a sector. It's a sexy word. And there is like interesting things happening there. And then there's tokenizing open source development. And AI is the vehicle because it's the most interesting open source thing in the world right now. Because what is a large language model? It's an API that I plug in to a piece of software that's going to do more than what the API itself does. That's what building on top of, any of these LLMs right now looks like. So the reason why Tau, to me, is less exciting than maybe even some of the stuff coming out now, some of the bigger players now, because I think the real wave is that for the first time, we're actually finding a way to bootstrap rapidly open source development. And you think about how what the implication is for AI. The doomsday scenario is the world where some people have this worldview. The doomsday scenario is the world where it's just open AI. They control all of AGI and like they just come and dominate the world. But for the first 2.5, 3 years of AI, like since ChatGPT came out, like the question is, how are we ever going to get open source development to like compete with the behemoths? And the reality is, it's not that they're going to compete. It's that using Llama, using these AI models, there's going to be even more excess and more surplus created by all of the different ways that people make it useful for the end user. Obvious one for crypto. This is the most obvious one probably. Gryph AIN, Noor, these front end interfaces. where you just type in, I want to send $5, you know, to my friend. You just type it in, and it interfaces with the blockchain and just does what you're asking. That's like how I see mainstream adoption on crypto being, you know, one and one. And that's obviously not what Tao and the bigger kind of existing AI plays are focused on. That's what the new stuff is focused on.
Tao is more the infrastructure play, and they often don't perform as well as the applications layer. I get that. We haven't figured out the applications layer yet.
We have not figured it out. Yes.
Here's something to think about as well that I put in my head. And I said, I don't know any of the answers to this. Why didn't Aave outperform ETH?
I honestly don't know. I don't know. I wasn't too deep on.
But you know what I mean? That was the big DeFi thing that broke out, right? Aave's a real thing used by almost everybody in some way, shape, or form, or Uniswap, right? Either of those two, right? They're ubiquitous, they're everywhere, and they didn't outperform the underlying blockchain. The signal in that I think people ignore. It did in short periods of time, obviously, right? DeFi summer, they crushed it, but over time they haven't.
So what would be the takeaway from that then? Just buy Solana?
But maybe the applications layer is not as valuable as the Metcalfe's law accretion of value to the base layer, right? Number of active users, total value transacted. We actually make more money out of the underlying blockchain than we do out of all of the applications because of almost perfect competition in this space. Maybe.
Yeah.
And so I've started, you know, I keep really thinking about the signal. I don't know, Frank, you weren't listening, or maybe you were. The friend of mine who bought Bitcoin really early and has done nothing. And when I speak to him now, he's made investments in the past. He goes, I just try and look to see whether it'll outperform my Bitcoin or not. And it made me think about all of the noise, all of the kind of screaming and shouting on X is in the end, the adoption of Bitcoin keeps going up.
Yeah.
And you don't actually have to do anything. And the value accrual goes to the chain itself. Now, ETH maybe not because they overbuilt capacity, but it'll come back.
Yeah.
Solana's clear. A bunch of these. And so that's what I struggle with is, am I mid-curving the entire fucking thing? And I should just buy, which is mainly what my strategy has been, which is just buy 3 or 4. Don't fuck this up. Go to the beach, which I am actually on the beach right now, and don't do anything.
Type shit. Yeah. So I think then we split off into 2 worldviews, right? Which is, if you believe that there isn't a winner today, I think we might be on the same page. I wonder how much capital will flow into the actual winner/winners when that becomes really clear. Some people feel like that's already happened. Again, which is a big schism, but I don't think it has. And I think when it's like obvious, like, oh, buy this, like same way that Render was. And same way, honestly, for a minute, the Tau was. But in this new era, I think the amount of capital that will flow from institutions, from people that just want exposure to this could be really, really high.
Yeah, but I think that's a 2027, 28, 29 thing. This is not this. This is the testing cycle, right?
Sam Altman said AGI this year, Raoul. Sam Altman said AGI this year.
Elon said 2026.
Yeah, but my view is, what I love about crypto is the rapid capital formation, testing of ideas, nuking it, building it, all of this stuff, right? The test, iterate, learn cycle is so fast in crypto, it's like nothing else in the world. Better than any product cycle in history. Have I frozen? No. Have I frozen?
No, my bad.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, so it's better. The velocity of capital in this space is better than any space that have ever existed, which is fantastic. But we tend to be super early to stuff. So we get an idea, we turn it into a meme, we pump the shit out of it. It fails, but the signal is real. It's like the NFT signal, people have no comprehension how big NFTs are going to be. And not just on the art side. It's like every fucking ticket, every contract you do, everything will be an NFT. But people just can't see it yet. It's like the metaverse. Everyone got nuked on the metaverse last cycle. But the metaverse is going to be more real than most of our lives are. And so we're really early in doing this. We tend not to accrue much value early. We trade and chop and test.
Yes. You're very right about this, by the way. It's a curse of being too early. 100%. Yes.
Yeah, because
That's my most existential question is like, and to your
well,
point.
it doesn't matter at your time horizon. And this is the most important thing people need to understand on X is fucking time horizons,
Yeah.
right? Is you can be completely in agreement over where things are going, but your trading time horizon is super short generally, and mine is super long generally.
Yeah.
And once we understand that, we can.
I'm
speak
trying
the
to
same
get there,
language.
by the way. I'm
Real.
trying to get where you're at now. Like, that would be awesome. That's the goal. Do you feel like that for people that are watching this too? Curious. Do you feel like you have to start out to a degree? If your goal is to make a lot of money in crypto, do you have to start out with shorter time horizons, or do you think that's a fallacy as well?
I think it's a fallacy.
Interesting.
And this whole "don't fuck this up" thesis is this.
I like it. Yeah.
Which is, listen, generally speaking, 90% put it into the long-term tokens. If you got the timing roughly right, I mean, my asset allocation switch was Solana, like, I don't know, averaging at 20 something, 21. Okay. And then halfway through, I did SUI, which did another 6x last year, right? You don't need to do more than that. But if you have 10%,
Hyperliquid? Nah.
but if you got the 10%, let's say, and you did manage to knock a meme coin out of the cycle, you'll fucking do another 10x on your entire portfolio because it goes up 100x or whatever it is, right? So I think everybody should speculate in the smaller stuff, but if you just hold a core bag, you don't risk nuking yourself. Now, you could be more risky than me and say, I'm going to put 20% in memes. Prove to me that you can get a consistent return over time, or at least one big shot, then great. I can't. I tried.
Yeah.
I've never made any money in that degen bag I've ever had. Ever.
Type shit.
So it kind of feels like, Raoul, that we have similar agreement that the intersection of AI and crypto is going to be massive, but the separation is mainly time-based, where
Yes.
we're sort of hyper-focused on right now, today, and you're more like, I'm worried about 2 years, 5. You're talking about 2030. We're talking about like
No, I'm also-
January 15th.
Generally, yes, but also my